Hello, today I'll be talking about how the kidneys work. So basically the nephrons are the functional and structural units of the kidneys. There are millions of them in there, and I'll be breaking down the process on the whiteboard for you. Okay, so we've got two kidneys bean shaped. I'll do my best. All right, so they're the kidneys. Coming out of the kidneys, we have the renal artery, which I'll do in green. And then we've also got the renal vein, along with the ureters at the bottom, which are gonna transport the urine produced at the end of all this into the bladder. They're gonna take it from the kidneys to the bladder. So the renal artery is broken down into smaller and smaller units as it crosses the kidney. And so the smallest unit of it is the afferent arteriole. So that's right here. So this is basically the nephron down here. So the afferent arteriole is going to carry into what's called the glomerulus, which is held by the Bowman's capsule. And then, so the afferent arteriole is going to take blood from the outside system into here where it's going to be purified. And then we're also going to have fluid that's going to leak down into the Bowman's capsule afterwards. The purified blood is going to exit through the efferent arteriole and then into the renal vein. So blue, blue, green, green. Okay, so the renal corpuscle right here is where the initial filtering happens, and it's composed of this glomerulus and then also the Bowman's capsule. So that's the fluid-filled area. The glomerulus is just a tuft of capillaries. Okay, so the filtrate is going to trickle down the Bowman's capsule. It's going to move into the proximal convoluted tube. That's the first part of the nephron. Then after that, it's going to enter the loop of Henle, which consists of the descending loop and the ascending loop. The descending loop only has water that's going to be reabsorbed into the interstitial fluid. So the interstitial fluid is extremely hypertonic. It's made of mostly solute, so it's going to draw out water by using osmosis, and then it's going to be absorbed into these blood vessels out here. Then for the ascending loop, this is only permeable to solutes, not water. Only solutes, such as NaCl and potassium. Okay, then we're going to move into the distal convoluted tube where secretion takes place. So we have potassium, hydrogen ions, and urea, which are all going to be secreted into the tubule at this point. And then lastly, the last part of it is the collecting duct. And then at the end of this, the urine is going to be excreted. This is where the ureters are going to pick up the urine, move it to the bladder, and then from there the urethra is going to carry the urine from the bladder outside of the body. Okay, so here's my homemade demonstration of how excretion, secretion, and reabsorption are going to work with the kidneys. So here's the renal tubule, this noodle box right here. We've got the glomerulus up here that's held in the Bowman's capsule, and then we have the afferent arteriole and the efferent arteriole. Okay, so blood's going to enter the afferent arteriole and prepare for filtration. All right. Okay, then it's going to be purified in the glomerulus and eventually exit through the efferent arteriole. So that's filtration. Then once it passes the filtration period, we have secretion and reabsorption. So through reabsorption, we have this filtered water, so the filtrate that passes through the glomerulus. It's going to fill up in there, and then it's going to exit through the renal tubule. Maybe add a little bit more water. Okay. Yeah. So it should be exiting through the holes at the bottom of this box. Basically just demonstrating that the solutes and water and everything else are going to move into the interstitial fluid to the blood. So then we also have secretion, which is basically just water and solutes moving from the blood into the renal tubule. So that's just adding fluid into the holes at the top, and that demonstrates secretion. Our final step is once we have all this fluid inside of our renal tubule and it passes through with all the solutes it used, it's going to excrete out the bottom. All right, one more time. All right, so water is pouring out. Let's just say it's pouring out. Okay, so that was my demonstration of urination. It was the ureters carrying the urine from the kidneys to the bladder, and then the urine just sat in the bladder, and then the urethra takes the urine from the bladder to the outside of the body, and that's the whole process. Thank you.